Hello and welcome to this Q&A from the Fertility Alliance. And today we're going to be hearing a real life experience story from Hannah, who's going to be telling us a bit about her experiences of fertility. So welcome, Hannah. It's lovely to have you with us. I wonder if you could start by telling us a bit about how and when you first discovered that you might have fertility issues.
Hello, yes, and thank you for having me. It's lovely to be chatting with you today. So yes, it started about well, it's just over 2 years ago since I had my diagnosis. So just nearly 3 years ago. It was 6 months after my husband Dave and I got married, and we thought we're ready to start to try and grow our family now and try and conceive. Um, and so I came off the pill, and I very quickly realised that my periods weren't coming back. So I wasn't too worried about this at first, just because I had heard they can take a while for everything to kick back in. However, as time went on, I then started to become a little bit more concerned. And it was paired with the fact that what I can only describe as I felt quite dead inside. Like I'd heard my friends talk about them coming off the contraception, and they felt everything kick back in and they could feel really in tune with their body, and I couldn't feel any less in tune with mine. It just felt like nothing at all was happening, and I felt like I completely lost myself actually through this period. And after about 6 months, I went to the pharmacy just to talk to them, because I didn't want to talk to the doctor at first, because I thought, oh, they just wait longer. So I went to the pharmacy, and they talked me through well, they were asking what pill I had come off, and talked through some of my experience that I was having, and they seemed quite concerned. They said get straight to the doctor. So we went to the doctors, and they did immediately run hormone blood tests for me, which I know in quite a lot of cases for some women that can be quite difficult even to just get those. So we did get them straight away. And that's sort of when it led into starting to hear the term POI. So I had a text message a week or so after my blood tests, and it said basically they needed to run repeat tests, and immediately I knew something was wrong with that. So I rang up, booked that appointment, and I did ask what had come back in those, and the receptionist said they couldn't tell me because they're medically trained, but they could do me a print off. So what I did, I went on a Friday after work, I poddled down to the my doctor's and got the envelope with my results and opened it, and I saw the term suggests premature ovarian insufficiency. And I had no idea what that was at the time. And it made me realise, actually, going through this whole thing, how little I actually knew about women's health. I'm still trying to get my head around it all. It's a bit of a minefield. But yeah, so I saw that term, but then I was just left for that repeat test. I had no reach out from the doctors to talk it through with me. Luckily, I had a friend who is a GP. She came around with her big medical book and talked it through with me, but no support from the GP at that point. And then had the repeat tests, and that confirmed it. Or just a bit of background actually for the premature ovarian insufficiency is what we're saying is POI. That is basically where your ovaries are stop working before the age of 40, and that is basically putting you into a premature menopause. So the repeat test did suggest that as well. So we went into having additional tests such as AMH to test my ovarian reserve and some scans, and that all just confirmed there was no follicular activity down there. And basically, I had no chance of having my own biological child. We were referred to the fertility clinic at that point to discuss our options, and they did fail to put me through to menopause as well at that point. But luckily, our fertility specialist did was a gynecologist as well, so got me onto the HRT, which is good. But yes, from there, they basically just confirmed that there was no chance of having a biological child, and they did want to run a carrier type test because 90% of POI cases there's no underlying causes found to why it's happened. But they do like to just check in a lot of cases for any genetic disorders, any autoimmune disorders, things like that. So I had those tests, and the carrier type test, it does take a bit longer because it is a bit more of a complex blood test. But that came back and then confirmed Turner syndrome. Which is a chromosome issue that affects your X chromosomes. So women have two X chromosomes, and either that second X is either completely missing or partially missing when you have Turner syndrome. And it's something you're born with, and it's not hereditary, it's just how you develop when you're in the womb. And it pieced a lot together for me actually, because I was investigated through from very early on for because I'm so petite, and just some other things, and I guess issues with my period when I started, and I was just very quickly put on the pill as a quick fix, and it not looked into, which now we know would have been the POI. So my POI would have occurred in teenage years, with having Turner syndrome. So yes, and it's it it caused a lot of trauma, all of this. I think I was definitely one of those women, and well, from a little girl, always imagined that I would grow up and be a parent and have a family, and that's what I wanted. So to be told that I was postmenopausal and infertile, it shattered me.
I was going to ask you what the impact was like. I mean, because these were things that you'd never even heard of, presumably just a matter of months earlier.
No, no, no. Yes, it felt like, I guess, the ground completely crumbled beneath me. I guess the years ahead that I thought were going to be the best were replaced with infertility and managing menopause and health appointments and worrying about long-term health issues, rather than, I guess, becoming a mum and growing our family.
And were you given options for having a family in the future?
So we were just told that if we wanted to, for me to be able to carry, it would have to be through donor egg IVF treatment, which brings so many complexities on its own. And I think it's often quite sold by medical professionals as just another fertility treatment, and it isn't. There is a lot more to it. And then obviously they were saying then the other route is adoption. So they would be our only options if we were going to pursue parenthood from here.
And how do you feel about those?
It's been a bit of a roller coaster actually, and we've constantly been up and down with how we feel about it. But yeah, it's quite complex because, well, I think being a parent can be quite complex on its own, let alone then bringing in, especially with donor conception, it's trying to get your head around having that third person involved, which is so kind that women and men for sperm donation are donating, but it's quite hard, I guess, when you feel like you can't have that child that you always thought you would, and it's going to be part of me and part of my husband, and how you always envision what that child might be like.
I think it's really interesting that you say that it's often sold as just another stage on the sort of fertility treatment list of things to try, and yet you feel it's quite different because I think that's something that organisations like the Donor Conception Network really stress a lot, that there is a lot more involved, isn't there?
Yes, definitely. Yes, and I have looked a lot into the Donor Conception Network and Paths to Parent Hub. They've been brilliant in helping us sort of gain knowledge on that path and what we might face if we did go down that route. I think we've been trying to spend some time just really understanding all our options and seeing what's going to be right for us. And I think at one point we were quite firm on which way we were going, but now it's not so clear.
Do you think there should be more information about these kind of potential fertility issues from earlier on?
I would say so. I mean, I hadn't even necessarily heard much on like a donor conception, or and I guess I'd heard a bit more on adoption, just as you go through life. But yes, I think there was very little information actually given to us from a medical perspective. We had to go out and investigate that ourselves and try and build that knowledge up rather than getting any proper support at all to understand what is ahead of us. And I think that's just been in general. So from the whole diagnosis point of view and the emotional and mental health side of things, we've had no support at all from that side, or offer.
I wanted to ask you about that, whether you felt you had any support at all at the time of diagnosis, because it sounds as if they just kind of told you and then left you with that information.
Yes, yes, it felt very much like there's your diagnosis and you need this medical appointment and this medical appointment and sort of there you go. And you have to go and try and figure out all this emotional turmoil that you're feeling at the time by yourself, really. They didn't nobody through I've had so many appointments and not one of them has actually asked, are you okay from all of this? And do you need any extra support from that side of things?
Is that something you think we could change?
I definitely think so. Yes.
Something you're fighting to change yourself?
Yes, yes, definitely. Because I know it's the same for a lot of people in this situation where they've just had no support. It's all, I mean, which is nice. I mean, I've had quite a good experience and they've tried to be really thorough in checking me over health wise. But yes, not in the terms of mental health.
And also, did when you got the diagnosis, were things actually, do you feel you were actually explained the situation properly? I mean, explain what it was and what the causes were, and was that kind of quite clear at the time or not really?
Not really. I mean, they did explain some of the health impacts. So they did explain with the Turner syndrome, there's an extra impact on my heart. So I've had to have a lot of scans like echocardiograms, cardiac MRIs. But I had absolutely no idea of what POI or Turner syndrome was, as we've said before. I saw the terms that I was diagnosed with, and I had to do all my own research into what they were. There was no information or guidance given to try and understand them from the medical professionals.
I think that's so sad to hear you say that they didn't really offer you any help at all.
Yes, no, yeah, it's so sad. And it makes you feel very lonely because it's already quite a lonely path anyway, because you suddenly are thrown into a world where your peers can't relate to you and what you're going through. But we can't relate to women of a standard menopausal age either. And with the infertility on top, it's just another avenue that's got a blocker when really you feel like there should be support there for you to be able to seek.
And have you met anyone else who's in a similar position to you since getting your diagnosis?
I have, and that makes me feel so so empowered that I've been able to find a community through social media and through the Daisy Network, who is a charity that is specifically for women with premature ovarian insufficiency. And it's given me the chance to meet so many incredible women. And I've made some really good friends, and we've had meetups, and it's just so special to have those women that know exactly what you're going through. And even though it can look so different for different people and what they're experiencing, we just have a mutual understanding for each other and what's going on.
And looking back now, what advice would you have to anyone else who might find themselves in a similar situation?
Oh, I would say so. Read. Reading is key. Do all your research. Reach out. There is a community, and there's amazing women that are so open and sharing their stories. Surround yourself with people that do understand because it's lonely, and especially when I think how you picture your future, and then that completely changes. You need that additional support even if it's just in the form of friends who understand what you're going with. And I'd say also just give yourself the time. I think there can be a rush when you get a diagnosis to just rush down an avenue. to get to a desired point. And then they actually haven't considered everything that comes with that. So I would say just take your time, go at your own pace, and don't let yourself get swayed by, I guess, what should be the thing that you do rather than what's actually right for you.
You've been very open about your experiences. How have you found talking about it and being public about it?
It's been incredible. So yes, I share my story on social media, and I think I set out there just in hope to raise some awareness and to even if I could just help one person, then that would be amazing. But I have had so many amazing messages from women saying how much it's helping them. But I also didn't realize how much it would help me. I think as well. I think it's really helped me to process everything that's happened and really try and work everything out and how I feel. I think writing everything down to be able to document, I think it's just made everything feel a lot clearer for me.
Hannah, thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. It was really lovely to talk to you, and thank you for your openness and honesty, which I'm sure will help lots of other people.
Oh, no problem. Thank you so much for having me.